Alrighty, hi. This is gonna be a different video, as you could probably tell given the title and how long this video is, but I've kind of wanted to do some sort of podcast for a while now. Didn't know what the podcast was gonna be about, but I've been knitting this past few months, and I guess I wanted to talk about, my knitting and everything that I've done over the past month, talk about yarn, some WIPs, some finished objects, and I thought the best way to do that was through this kind of video, like a video podcast format. It's going to be a little different. I'll try to keep this as unedited as possible, so I apologize if there's a lot of ums, likes, or I repeat my words a lot, because that's what I tend to do. And you don't usually see that because I edit it all out. But as I said, this is going to be purely unedited, so please grab your coffee or your tea, or if you want to just chill with me while we do some work together, that would be nice. That'd be really nice. Anyway, before we get started, my name is Bash. I make new videos every other Saturday, though this one I guess will be like a special video since I'm probably gonna do this maybe every end of the month. Just a little bit of craft content that I wanted to do. So you can like, comment, and subscribe, and then follow me on Instagram, either on @BashHarry or The Harry Knit, where I talk or post about my updates on my progress with some garments that I'm making, because lately I've been really into making clothes, and I'll talk about that later. But for now, we're going to talk about the finished pieces first, and then the works in progress, and a yarn haul, because I spent like $260 on yarn, which in hindsight, it's not a lot. It was mostly for shipping. I think shipping was about $60, but it's still a lot of yarn. Yeah. Anyway, first, let's start on the finished projects. First one, the one that I think I made the most recently, is this bralette. This is a rose bralette that I made for a friend. It's more a crop top for me, but on her it will be a rose bralette because she is more voluptuous than me. I made it with Caron Simply Soft Solids, and I wasn't really following a pattern. In fact, this is my own pattern, and you can definitely tell I was just figuring it out as I go along with it. I made this pattern here. So it's a really nice intarsia pattern, and honestly, I think the rose came out so much better than I anticipated. The one thing I say is that I wish I did have a pattern, or I wish I had her measurements, because I was really going for bra sizes, and when I'm knitting bras, I tend to follow like the specific pattern, how it calls for the measurements. So I really hope this fits on her. Happy birthday, Farah! This is your birthday present. Would I do anything differently? I feel like I would have done the straps a bit better. I did add this kind of ribbed effect at the back, because like I said, I didn't know her exact measurements, so I wanted to make sure that this still fit her and her body type. I also really love the colors. I think it's quite girly, the pink and the hot pink / purple, and the little bit of green as the rose. I definitely want to do more intarsia. I think they look so cute. I'm so proud of this rose specifically. Everything else I'm like, could be better, but the rose, like, I'm so proud of it. And then, because you can tell from the inside, it's just so nicely done. Like from the inside out, it looks like this, but then outside it looks amazing. It is acrylic though, and I wouldn't say acrylic is the best thing for garments specifically, but all the finished pieces in this video, or the ones I've made over the past few months, have been using have been the Care On Simply Soft Solids, just because it is really soft and I actually surprisingly like it. I didn't block it or anything. I feel like blocking it would lose the elasticity that I was making with this bra. So it's gonna go as it is. I might wash it or like remove a little bit of the fibers. One thing I'd say about this as well, I wish it was a bit shorter. Like I said, this is kind of like a crop top for me. And she's shorter than me, so it might actually end up looking like a crop top, but we'll have to figure it out. Like, these are regular straps. I was thinking of doing tie straps like a previous bra that I've made for myself, but I thought this one would give a bit more support. Maybe next time I'll probably put padding. Maybe one of these days if I make another bra for myself. The second thing I've made this month is this crop top. I crocheted this crop top and it was the very first thing I've ever crocheted. It took me like 5 days and my mom can do something like this in maybe 2-3 hours. So it's a testament to how great my mom is at crochet and how I am such a beginner. But I actually really love how it turned out, especially with the little daisy embroidery going on right there. My sister told me when I was like halfway done making the daisies, she was like, you know that daisies have 5 petals, right? And I was like, I do not care. I think it's cute. I think the yellow really brings out the daisy embroidery. I did a very basic lazy daisy stitch that you can probably find on YouTube. But yeah, one thing I'd say is I probably do the straps a bit differently because it does lower the body. It's a bit too long for my body, so if I wasn't wearing this shirt, it would just be super obvious about where the cleavage starts. So I would have actually brought this up a bit higher by like an inch, and maybe I'll do that in the future if I decide to upcycle some clothes. I do have a few pieces that I do want to upcycle, or some recent knits that I've done that I kind of want to do again, just because though I do like the finished product, I know that I can do it better. So yeah, that is probably what I would be doing with this crop top. I might sell it in the future, maybe. I feel like this is something that a lot of kids would love. And I feel like making clothes for kids would be so much more easier than making clothes for adults because they don't take as long. I've made a few hats for children and they only take maybe less than a day, probably. The next thing that I made this September that I've definitely posted here on YouTube, I think with my crochet project video that was last week, is this color quadrant crop top by James N. Watts. I love it so much. This is probably like my favorite project that I've made in the past like 2 weeks so far, just because I love the color. You've got Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and I love the I-cord edging. This is my first time doing I-cord edging, and it takes a long time. Like honestly, I-cord edging takes forever, but it gives such a nice finish to a stockinette. Oof. And it did take me longer than I expected. I think this whole shirt took me, I'm gonna say 5 days, excluding blocking. I did kill the acrylic. I did block it and then killed it with the iron. But I think it came out looking real nice and pretty. Oh, I love it. But you can see how crumpled it is because I think I made a mistake on blocking it. I squeezed the excess water and then I steam blocked it, and I think I accidentally set some of the wrinkles there. It's not so noticeable, and I feel like if I washed it, it would be all right. But yeah, that's just one thing to know if you're going to block your acrylic, so be careful with that. Another thing I say is that this one is not necessarily a crop top because I did make the body longer than the original piece, the one that James N. Watts did on his Instagram and his Ravelry. I decided to make it longer just so it's something that I could wear. So instead of being above my belly button, it's I think right below it, and I do wear a lot of high-waisted trousers. So this would be perfect, and I'm so excited to wear this out when I can, if I can. I do love the colors. I love the color block idea. I've been really into color blocking lately. I think it just makes the piece look really nice. But I do make a lot of what I would consider funkier pieces, like pieces that are, you know, statement pieces that when you go out, people would be like, oh gosh, that's so cute, that's so cool. But I do want to make more neutral pieces that I can go out and probably not grab as much attention. The next thing that I've been making, and this was because a lot of people have been asking how much my knits cost, and admittedly, it is a little expensive because knitting takes a long time. Yarn is expensive, especially good quality yarn, but that doesn't mean I want my products not to be accessible. So I've made a few scrunchies. I've only made 2 so far, and this is using polyester cotton yarn. These are really cute. I actually really love them. And I've made a few scrunchies over the past few years because these only take maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half to make. And it's just really easy stockinette stitch that's so mindless. I might sell them in the future, maybe when I have enough quantities, because I've only made 2 so far. My aim is to make, I guess, 10 before I decide to sell it or give it away as a birthday gift. I think, you know, making presents for people are always really nice. I used to make Christmas presents for my friends or my teachers, which were always so nice to give. I used to make so many like little hearts for people that they could use as a pin cushion, or they can use it as just like home decor. It's like the easiest thing to make for me, and I absolutely love it. You just need some leftover plush. Is that what's it called? Plush? So I've made 2 scrunchies, and I've made kind of like a half-finished scrunchie, but I might like frog this one just because I think it's too thin. And usually I use leftover yarn. I use scrap yarn from other projects, and this one is leftover green yarn from this project. So I can use up basically whatever I have. But I might not make this into a scrunchie. I might have to frog it, redo it with smaller needles, because I don't like how wide it is. I just don't. So I might have to frog this one. And I'm currently making a pink version using the leftover yarn from the bra and the top. So this one I think is going really well. I usually just knit this up when I'm like in the studio and I want to do something with my hands. I'll usually just bring some knitting along. And like I said, this is like a mindless activity that I can do when I'm like watching a YouTube video or something. Okay, those are the finished objects. I want to move on to my work in progress, which is not a lot. In fact, it's probably just like 1 piece. It is this Lana Vest. Let me just see where it is. Here it is. It's this Lana Vest. Oh, it is so beautiful. I love the color. I love the details. The cables is so pretty. But I wouldn't recommend this for a beginner. And I haven't done cables in like 6-7 years. So this is my first time working on cables for such a long time. And you can tell that I made a few mistakes. I made a mistake here, and I made a few mistakes at the back. So you probably can't see it. It's like right there. And is that the only mistake? Yeah. And then right here as well. And I do this one during the day when I'm a bit more focused. I have not finished the other sleeve. I haven't finished the sleeve, and I haven't finished the body. So it's almost done. And I used DK yarn. Actually, no, I used sport weight yarn. And the reason why I use sport weight instead of the recommended Iran yarn is because I live in a hot climate. It is so hot in Brunei sometimes. So I wanted something that was much lighter. This is made with cotton and acrylic. It's just so much better for the weather that we have here in Brunei. And I think it's just so pretty. I was tempted to do this on smaller needles, like 3.5 millimeter, but I decided to go for 4.5 because I do like the baggier look. And I think it's really nice. I think it's going really well. Like I said though, it's not something that you can do mindlessly. It took me a while to get the pattern right and the cables, and I've definitely made a few mistakes here and there that I had to redo. I had to redo this sleeve for like 3 times, I think, because I made one mistake in the ribbing and I had to do it all over again. So don't do what I do. Try to be focused when you're doing this sort of pattern. But overall, I get a lot of compliments on my Instagram whenever I post it, because it is so beautiful, and once you get the hang of it, it is something that's really easy to do. I hope to finish this within the end of this week. I started on the 12th of September. Today's the 21st. So it's a good 2-week, maybe 3-week project. Another work in progress, like at the bare beginnings of a work in progress, is I'm planning on making the Hope Macaulay cardigan, the Belle Colossal cardigan specifically, because I keep seeing her on my Instagram and I love her cardigans. They're so beautiful, but one, it's too hot to wear in Brunei. Like, it's just so hot, I can just tell. And 2, they're over like 400 euros. They're so expensive and I can't justify myself buying that. But I did justify myself making my own version, so I'm probably knitting that one up like next month, and I don't know, maybe film a video about that, we'll see. So as a work in progress, I've made a few swatches. I've made 3 because I was really curious about what it would look like, because I'm not following a specific pattern. I wanted it to look like Hope Macaulay's cardigan, but not necessarily be the exact replica. So I made a few swatches. There's one that's 8mm, one that's 10mm, and one that's 15mm. This one I think is my favorite. It is the 15mm one, just because I love how the stockinette stitch looks like. And it's also like the softest between all 3. Which one? The 8mm and the 10mm I think is a bit too heavy and it's a bit too warm, but the 15mm I really like. I think I did 2 strands of them, so a part of me is worried that I might not have enough yarn, but that's why I bought extra off-white yarn, so in case anything happens I could just use the white kind of for the cuffs and the ribbing. So that's that on the finished objects and the work in progresses. I don't know why I'm so nervous to make a podcast. I feel like I talk to myself a lot anyway. The only difference is there's a camera on me now when I want to talk about yarn and clothes and knitting. I do want to get more into like a knitting YouTuber or crafty YouTube. Like, I've always been interested in it, but I never really thought I was good enough with my hands to do so. Now we finally talk about the yarn. I spent $260 on yarn, which sounds like a lot because it is. And I don't usually spend this much on yarn. I usually steal it from my mom because she can afford it. I, however, do have a job, so I basically been able to save some money to buy myself all the yarn that I wanted from woolwarehouse.co.uk. They ship it to Brunei, and I did use Fast Track, so that's about 1990 pounds per 2 kilograms. So the yarn that I bought, definitely over 2 kilos. But if you're okay with that, Wool Warehouse is a great option for you to buy yarn if you're based in Brunei. I wish I took a chance and actually started knitting more when I was in the UK. I only made very few projects and no garments, which really sucks, because that would have been the perfect time to make sweaters, but I didn't. And I don't want to think about it anymore. I want to talk about yarn right now. Let me show you. I actually bought a lot of yarn. I bought so much yarn. It's like this much yarn. We've got a whole bucket full of yarn, and the first one that I want to talk about is these Cascade 2020 Antique Heather. I've worked with Cascade before. I made a jumper with the yarn, the fingering yarn though, and it feels amazing. This, however, does not feel as great because it is Peruvian wool. I know, I don't understand why I bought wool in Brunei, but I think it was on sale, which is why I got them. And this is in the shade 9600. I don't know what 9600 is. I think it's tan. And I bought so much of this. I think I bought like 1,500 yards of fabric. Don't ask me why, okay? And honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna make with this wool, but I am tempted to make myself a folklore cardigan, like the one that Taylor Swift is selling for $100. That is very expensive. The girl who just bought $260 on yarn. I know, it's very hypocritical of me. But I think I might make myself the Taylor Swift folklore cardigan because there is a free pattern on Lion Brand on how to make your own. And I think that would be really cute. And I think it'd be so cute if I added my own stars and added like my own like fabric name, because in the cardigan or on the cardigan it says folklore. It'd be so cute if it just said like bash or something like that. It'd be so cute. And I think this is the perfect color for it. It might be too warm for Brunei weather, but that's the reason why it's a cardigan. You can take it on and off. The next thing that I got from Wool Warehouse are these Wendy Peter Pan double knit and machine washable. I think this is, what is this made out of? It is made from 55% nylon, 45% acrylic. And I bought this in the shade Bubbles, and I also got it in white. I have, I think, 6 in white and 10 of these in Bubbles. And the reason why I bought so many is because I'm planning on making the Lyrica Matoshi cloud sweater, but like my own version. Because as much as I adore her sweater, it's not necessarily something that I would particularly wear because it looks so warm and I don't want it to be too cropped. And I don't really like the green grass. I want to keep mine all white, no, all blue with clouds. So I'm hoping to make a swatch on that very soon, but I need to finish the vest first because those are the exact needles I need to make a swatch. If I decide to make it, I will let you know. There's a great video by Tiffany Liu where she made her own version of the Lyrica Matoshi sweater, and that sweater cost like $250. So it would be great to be able to make my own version that's also machine washable. See, I didn't even buy that much yarn. It's just I bought a lot in bulk. And speaking of bulk, I did say I was gonna make the Hope Macaulay cardigan, which is why I made swatches, but I'm not making it in white. I'm actually making it in 3 different colors. So I've bought, I think, 6 each. This one in the color 66. I think this is sea green. I also bought it in the color 24, which I think is yellow, and one in pastel pink. This is number 51. Altogether, I think these colors look so beautiful together. I know it looks really small, but I have like a whole basket full. I'm not kidding when I said I bought a lot of yarn. I'm so excited to try out these yarns. It doesn't feel that soft though, I'll say that. Like when I first touched it, I didn't realize how much it felt kind of scratchy. And I guess I expected that because it is £1.80. But then after like a quick wash, it does feel quite nice. So I'm very excited to see how it turns out. So I'm planning on making it in yellow, pink, and blue. We shall see how it goes, because I am excited to make it. I don't know if I will. I probably will. I've already made the swatches, and that's like a project that I'm itching to make. I just have to find the specific needles, because I only have one size of the 15mm needles, and it's cute, but it is heavy. So I'm hoping I have enough yarn for the 15mm project that I'm working on. That is the yarn that I purchased, I think, the beginning of this month, but I am planning on buying a bit more yarn because I am doing a test knit for a girl called Lorianne, who is from Europe. She is making this very beautiful topaz sweater. It's called topaz sweater. It's not gold, but I'm planning to make it in either a really nice gray or a kind of beigey color. I don't have that specific yarn that I need to get, so I'm planning on purchasing that because my mom also needs to get some yarn and fabric for herself. So when that yarn comes, I will probably talk about it on like the next podcast. We'll see. I don't know. Let me know if you want more of these like rambling videos. I have a tendency to ramble anyway and talk about meaningless stuff like knitting because I is a nerd and I'm a hoe for yarn. I don't know. I want more people into knitting in Brunei because people always assume like it's a very grandmotherly hobby. But grandmotherly hobbies are cool now. Like everybody crochets, everybody's doing embroidery, everyone is doing needlework. So I want more Bruneian local knitters because it'd be cool to talk about stuff around a knitting circle. I used to be in the knitting society in Exeter. I also wore a lot of hats in Exeter. My dad talked about it the other day, how I don't wear hats anymore. And it's like, yeah, there's no reason to wear hats here in Brunei. Anyway, guys, that is it from me. Thank you so much for watching and hearing me talk about yarn and knitting projects. If you want to learn how to knit or you want more videos like this, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because that would be really nice. But yeah, I guess I'll talk to you guys soon. Watch out for the next podcast. Who knows when that's gonna happen. But until then, my name is Bash Harry, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.